I was standing in line at a gas station in Tucson, Arizona, holding a bag of Doritos and a Red Bull, when my marriage ended. Not officially, that would take months, but the moment itself happened at 2:55 p.m. on a Tuesday, courtesy of a text message from a number I didn't recognize. Thought you should know. Check your wife's Instagram stories, the one with the close friends list. My first instinct was to delete it. Spam. Had to be. But something in my gut twisted, and I found myself opening Instagram while the cashier rang up the guy ahead of me. My wife, Melissa, didn't even have a close friends list. At least I didn't think she did. I typed her handle. There it was. The green ring around her profile picture that I'd never noticed before. Close friends. A feature that let you share stories with a select group of people. People who weren't me, apparently. The cashier called next, but I didn't move. Someone behind me sighed loudly. I stepped out of line, my hand suddenly unsteady. I couldn't view it. I wasn't on the list. The realization hit me like a physical blow. My wife of 7 years had a secret Instagram story that she was sharing with other people. People who weren't her husband, the father of her 6-year-old daughter. I walked back to my truck, the snacks forgotten on the counter. My phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. This time it was a screenshot. The image loaded slowly, my phone struggling with the gas station's weak signal. When it finally appeared, I had to sit down on the curb. It was Melissa. In our bedroom, I recognized the gray accent wall we'd painted together last spring. She was wearing lingerie I'd never seen before, black and lacy and expensive looking. The caption read, "When B says he's on his way, Ijak worth it. Bay." Not me. I was at a job site 40 minutes away, covered in drywall dust. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. I zoomed in on the image, looking for any detail that might prove it was fake, photoshopped, anything. But there was the framed photo of our daughter Emma on the nightstand. There was the lamp Melissa had bought at HomeGoods last month. There was my wife, posing for someone who definitely wasn't me. The timestamp showed it had been posted 20 minutes ago. I was in my truck before I consciously decided to move. The drive home usually took 45 minutes, but I made it in 30, running 2 red lights and barely noticing. My mind was racing faster than the speedometer. How long had this been going on? Who was he? Did people know? Was I the only idiot in the dark? Our house sat on a quiet cul-de-sac in a development we'd stretched our budget to afford. The white picket fence, literally, had seemed charming when we bought it. Now it looked like a prop in someone else's life. A car I didn't recognize was parked in our driveway. A silver Audi A4 with dealer plates. I pulled up behind it, blocking it in. My heart was hammering so hard I could feel it in my throat. Part of me still hoped this was a misunderstanding. Maybe it was a friend. Maybe the screenshot was old. Maybe... The front door was unlocked. I pushed it open slowly and the house was quiet except for the sound coming from upstairs. Music. The playlist Melissa usually reserved for when she... I took the stairs 2 at a time, my work boots heavy on the hardwood. The bedroom door was closed. I stood there for maybe 3 seconds, my hand on the knob, giving myself one last chance to turn around, to unknow what I was about to know. I opened the door. They didn't notice me at first. Melissa was too busy, and the guy, younger than me, maybe late 20s, with the kind of gym-sculpted body I used to have before marriage and fatherhood and 12-hour workdays, had his eyes closed. Our bed, our sheets. The room still smelled like the vanilla candle Melissa always lit. What the hell is this? My voice came out strangled, barely recognizable. They sprang apart like teenagers caught by parents. Melissa's face went from flushed to white in an instant. The guy scrambled for his clothes, muttering a string of words I didn't process. "Kyle, this isn't..." Melissa grabbed for the comforter, pulling it up. "You're supposed to be at work." That's what she led with. Not an apology, not remorse, anger that I'd come home to my own house at the wrong time. "Get out," I said to the guy. My voice was eerily calm now. "Get your stuff and get out of my house." He didn't need to be told twice. He grabbed his clothes in a bundle and practically ran past me, not making eye contact. I heard him stumbling down the stairs, the front door slamming. Melissa was crying now, mascara running down her face. "Kyle, please, let me explain." "How long?" I asked. "It's not what you think." "How long?" She looked down at the sheets. Our wedding photo hung on the wall behind her, mocking me. 3 months. 3 months. While I'd been working overtime to save for Emma's college fund. While I'd been planning our anniversary trip. While I'd been living in what I thought was a happy marriage. "Who else knows?" I asked. She didn't answer, which was an answer in itself. "Who sent me the screenshot, Melissa?" Her eyes widened. "Someone sent you." "I don't know." "Kyle, nobody was supposed to." She stopped, realizing what she'd just admitted. Nobody was supposed to find out. That was her concern. Not that she'd done it, but that she'd been caught. I turned and walked out of the room. I drove. No destination in mind. Just away from that house, that bedroom, that vanilla-scented crime scene. My hands gripped the steering wheel tight enough to hurt, and somewhere in the back of my mind I registered that I'd left my water bottle at the gas station, the one I'd been holding when the text came through. 2 hours and 47 minutes ago, my biggest problem had been whether to grab Gatorade or stick with water. The sun was setting over the Catalinas when I finally pulled into a parking lot. Some tourist trap off I-10, gift shop, restaurant, the kind of place that sold overpriced turquoise jewelry to people passing through. I sat in my truck and stared at nothing. My phone buzzed. "Melissa. We need to talk about this." Then another. "You can't just leave." And another. "Think about Emma." That last one made something crack in my chest. Think about Emma. Our 6-year-old daughter who was at my mom's house right now, probably watching cartoons, completely unaware that her family had just imploded while she ate apple slices and string cheese. I'd been thinking about Emma. I'd been thinking about Emma every time I worked a double shift. Every time I ate PB&J for lunch 3 days straight to save money for her college fund. Every time I turned down beers with the guys because I needed to be home for dinner, for bath time, for bedtime stories. I've been thinking about Emma while Melissa was posting thirst traps for her close friends. My phone buzzed again. Not Melissa this time. The unknown number. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way." I stared at the message. Typed back. "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. "Someone who thought you deserved to know." "How long have you known?" 6 weeks. 6 weeks. This person, whoever they were, had known for 6 weeks. Had watched me at… where? The grocery store? Emma's school pickup? Had they seen me being the idiot husband, completely clueless, while they carried this secret? Why now? Because she was getting sloppy. The Instagram story was going to blow up eventually. Better you heard it from someone trying to help than at a PTA meeting. Jesus, the PTA, Emma's school. How many people were on that close friends list? How many of them had kids in Emma's class? How many had I made small talk with at back-to-school night, at the winter concert, at the spring fair where I'd worked the dunk tank for 3 hours? Who else knows? Does it matter? Yeah, it does. The dots appeared and disappeared twice before the response came. Enough people. I'm sorry. I threw my phone onto the passenger seat and got out of the truck. The evening air was cooling down, that desert temperature drop that could shift 40 degrees between sundown and midnight. I walked into the gift shop because I needed to be somewhere that wasn't my truck, wasn't my house, wasn't anywhere that reminded me of the life I'd apparently been living in a fantasy world. "Welcome in." A woman behind the counter, 60-something turquoise squash blossom necklace that probably cost more than my mortgage payment. Let me know if you need anything. I nodded and wandered past displays of Cocopelli figurines and cactus-shaped salt shakers. There was a whole section of those wooden signs with cutesy sayings. Home is where the heart is. Live, laugh, love. Family, where life begins and love never ends. I picked up that last one, turned it over. $24.99. Melissa had bought something similar at Home Goods last year, hung it in our entryway. I walked past it every single day. That's a popular one, the woman said. She'd materialized beside me, smiling. We can't keep them in stock. Yeah, I said. I bet. I put it back and walked out. My phone was ringing when I got back to the truck. Mom. I let it go to voicemail, then immediately felt guilty and called back. Kyle, I was just checking. Emma wants to know if she can have ice cream after dinner. Emma's voice in the background. Chocolate chip. Normal. Everything in my mom's house was normal. The way my life had been normal this morning when I'd kissed Emma goodbye and told her to be good for Grandma. Yeah, I said. Ice cream's fine. You sound weird. You okay? Just tired. Long day. You working too hard, honey? You need to… Mom, I gotta go. Tell Emma I love her. She wants to talk to you. I'll call her later. Promise. I hung up before Emma could get on the line. I couldn't talk to her right now. Couldn't pretend everything was okay while she told me about whatever game she'd played or videos she'd watched. Couldn't be dad when I was still trying to figure out who the hell I was supposed to be now. Melissa called twice. I declined both times. Then the texts started coming rapid fire. This is ridiculous. You're being dramatic. It meant nothing. I made a mistake. We can fix this. Don't throw away 7 years over one mistake. One mistake. 3 months of one mistake. 90 days of coming home to me, sleeping in our bed, kissing me goodbye in the morning, sitting across from me at dinner. 90 days of me working overtime while she worked under someone else. I opened my photos, scrolled back. There, 2 months ago, Emma's birthday party. Melissa smiling, arm around Emma, both of them in front of the frozen-themed cake we'd ordered from the bakery. I was behind the camera. I remembered taking this photo. Remembered thinking how lucky I was. 1 month ago, 4th of July. The three of us at Reed Park, waiting for fireworks. Emma on my shoulders, Melissa's hand in mine. A stranger had offered to take the picture so we could all be in it. We looked happy. We looked like a family. 3 weeks ago, just a random Tuesday. Melissa and Emma making pancakes, both of them covered in flour. Melissa had been laughing at something Emma said. I'd snapped the photo from the doorway, not wanting to interrupt the moment. Had she been sleeping with him then? Had she left our flour-covered kitchen and texted him later that day? Made plans to meet up while I was at work and Emma was at school? My phone rang again. Not Melissa. Dave, my foreman. Hey man, you good? You left the site pretty quick today. Family emergency, I said. Nothing serious, I hope. Depends on your definition. Silence on the other end. Then, you need a few days? Maybe, I'll let you know tomorrow. Take what you need. And Kyle? Whatever it is. Hang in there. I almost laughed. Hang in there. Like this was a rough patch. A bad day. Not my entire life revealing itself to be a lie. After we hung up, I just sat there in the parking lot as the sky went from orange to purple to black. Tourists came and went. Families. Couples. A group of college kids laughing about something. Normal people doing normal things on a normal Tuesday evening. My phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. You should get a lawyer. I don't want a lawyer. I want to wake up this morning and have none of this be real. I know, but you need to protect yourself. And Emma. Emma. Right. Because this wasn't just about me and Melissa anymore. This was about custody arrangements and child support, and explaining to a 6-year-old why mommy and daddy don't live together anymore. Do you have someone in mind? A pause. Then a name, a phone number. Tyler Brennan. He's good, discreet. Tell him Jordan sent you. Jordan. Finally, a name. Though it didn't tell me much, could be anyone. Man, woman, friend, stranger. Someone from Melissa's close friends list who'd grown a conscience. Why are you helping me? Because someone should have told you sooner, including me. I saved the lawyer's number. Stared at it. Tomorrow, I'd call. Tomorrow, I'd start figuring out what divorce looked like, what custody meant, how to split a life down the middle. But tonight, I had to figure out where I was going to sleep. Not home. Couldn't go back there. Not to that bedroom, that bed, that vanilla candle still probably burning on the nightstand. I pulled up a motel search, found something cheap off the highway, the kind of place with weekly rates and a flickering vacancy sign, booked a room for 3 nights because that seemed like a reasonable amount of time to figure out what the hell came next. The room smelled like cigarettes and industrial cleaner. The bedspread had geometric patterns that probably hid decades of stains. There was a painting of a desert sunset bolted to the wall. I sat on the edge of the bed and finally let myself feel it. All of it. I woke up to my phone buzzing at 6:47 a.m., Emma's name on the screen. Daddy? Her voice was small. Grandma says you had to work late. Are you picking me up today? The motel room came into focus. Water-stained ceiling, smell of industrial cleaner, my clothes still on from yesterday. I sat up too fast and the room tilted. Yeah, sweetheart. I'll be there soon. Okay, I made you a picture. It's a lighthouse. My throat closed up. Can't wait to see it, Em. After she hung up, I stared at the phone. Melissa had called 17 times. Left 9 voicemails. I deleted them without listening. The shower was lukewarm and weak, but it cleared my head enough to function. I needed to see Emma. Needed to hold on to the one thing in my life that was still real. My truck smelled like stale coffee and the Doritos I'd bought yesterday. Yesterday. When I'd had a wife. When I'd been an idiot who thought his marriage was solid. Melissa's mom lived in Oro Valley, 40 minutes north. I stopped at a McDonald's drive-thru because Emma would ask if I'd eaten breakfast and I couldn't lie to her. The Egg McMuffin tasted like cardboard, but I forced it down. Carol opened the door before I could knock. She'd been crying. Her eyes were puffy and red. Kyle, She reached for me, then stopped. I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know. Where's Emma? Backyard, playing with the hose. Carol's hands twisted together. Melissa called me last night, told me everything. I told her she's not welcome here until she fixes this. I know that's my daughter, but what she did, I need to get Emma. Carol nodded. Stepped aside. Emma was soaked, her sundress clinging to her skinny frame, spraying water at a lizard on the fence. When she saw me, she dropped the hose and ran. Daddy! I caught her, lifted her up, buried my face in her wet hair. She smelled like chlorine and sunscreen and everything good in the world. You're squishing me, she giggled. Sorry, Bug. I set her down but kept hold of her hand. Go get your stuff, okay? We're gonna have a daddy-daughter day. Her face lit up. Can we go to the lighthouse, please? Mrs. Patterson told us about it in school and I really want to see it. My brain stuttered. Lighthouse? The one in Portland, in Maine. She showed us pictures and there's tours and everything. Emma bounced on her toes. Can we go, please? Portland, Maine. 3,000 miles away from Tucson. From Melissa. From the bedroom with the gray accent wall and the vanilla candle. Yeah, I heard myself say. Yeah, we can do that. Carol packed Emma's things while I called my foreman. Told him I had a family emergency, needed a week, maybe 2. He didn't ask questions. Good guy, Dave. Said to take what I needed. Emma chattered the whole drive back to the house. Our house. I'd have to figure out what to do about that, but not today. Today, I just needed to pack bags and get on a plane. Melissa's car was in the driveway. Is Mommy home? Emma craned her neck to see. Yeah, but I pulled in behind the Camry, blocking it. Stay in the truck for a minute, okay? I need to talk to Mommy about our trip. Okay. She was already pulling out her tablet, oblivious. The front door was unlocked. Melissa was at the kitchen table, laptop open, mascara smudged under her eyes. She looked up when I walked in. Kyle, thank God. We need to talk about… We're going to Maine. I kept my voice flat. Emma and me, week or 2. She stood up fast, chair scraping. You can't just take her across the country without… Watch me. Kyle, please. Her voice cracked. I know I messed up. I know. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'm taking my daughter to see a lighthouse. I walked past her toward the bedroom. You can be here when we get back or you can be gone. I don't care which. She followed me down the hall. This is my house too. You can't just… I spun around and she flinched. Actually flinched like I'd ever… 3 months, I said. In our bed. While I was working overtime to pay for this house. While Emma was at school. 3 months, Melissa. I know. Tears started down her face. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Did you love him? She froze. What? Simple question. Did you love him? It wasn't like that. It was just what? Just sex? Just fun? I laughed, and it sounded wrong even to me. You risked our family for just something? You're never home. Her voice rose, defensive. You're always working, always tired. And I needed to feel wanted again, to feel young again. So you screwed a guy in his 20s in the bed where our daughter was conceived? Her face went white. Kyle, pack a bag for Emma, 2 weeks worth. I'll wait. You can't take her without my permission. I'll call the police. I pulled out my phone, opened it to the screenshot Jordan had sent, turned it so she could see. Go ahead, call them. I'll show them this. Then I'll show them whatever else Jordan has. Because there's more, isn't there? She stared at the screen, at herself, posed and smiling in lingerie, at the caption, at the proof of what she'd done. How did you… Doesn't matter. What matters is Emma doesn't need to be here while we figure out what comes next. I pocketed the phone. So pack her bag or I pack it and you don't get a say in what I bring. 20 minutes later, Emma had 2 suitcases in the truck bed. Melissa stood in the doorway, arms wrapped around herself. When will you be back? When we're done looking at lighthouses. Kyle, you want to tell her? I nodded toward Emma, visible through the truck window. You want to explain to our 6-year-old why Mommy and Daddy aren't talking? Why Daddy's taking her on a surprise trip? Melissa's face crumpled. No. Then we're done here. I got in the truck. Emma waved at Melissa through the window. Bye, Mommy. I'll bring you a postcard. Melissa waved back, crying openly now. I pulled out of the driveway and didn't look back. The flight left Phoenix at 11:35 p.m., soonest I could get 2 seats. Emma fell asleep against my shoulder somewhere over Texas, her lighthouse picture clutched in one hand. I'd drawn a simple tower with a beam of light. She'd added stars and waves and a family of 3 stick figures holding hands. 3. I closed my eyes and tried not to think about what came next. Lawyers, custody, selling the house. Telling Emma that Mommy and Daddy weren't going to be together anymore. But not yet. Not this week. This week, we were going to look at a lighthouse in Portland, Maine. We were going to eat lobster rolls and walk on the beach, and I was going to pretend, for just a little while, that my daughter's world wasn't about to shatter. The plane touched down at 7:42 a.m. Emma woke up cranky and disoriented, but perked up when I promised her pancakes. Portland was cold. Early September in Maine felt like November in Tucson. I bought us both sweatshirts at the airport gift shop, overpriced tourist trash with lobsters on them. Emma loved hers. The lighthouse tour didn't start until 2 p.m., so we killed time at the waterfront. Emma threw bread to seagulls while I checked my phone. Melissa had texted 43 times. Jordan had texted once. "How's Maine?" I stared at that message. How did Jordan know where we were? I hadn't told anyone except Dave, and Dave didn't know Jordan existed. My hands started shaking. "Who are you?" I typed. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Someone who thought you deserved to know the truth. Enjoy the lighthouse. Then nothing. I looked at Emma, laughing as a seagull stole bread from her hand. Whatever Jordan was, whatever this was, it could wait. Everything could wait. Right now, I had a lighthouse to show my daughter. The Portland Head light rose from the rocky coastline like something out of a postcard. White tower stark against the gray Atlantic sky. Emma pressed her face to the visitor center window, breath fogging the glass. "Can we go up in it, Daddy?" "Tour starts in 10 minutes, I said, checking my phone. No new messages from Jordan. No messages from Melissa either, though I'd blocked her number somewhere over Pennsylvania. My lawyer, Patricia Brennan, the one Jordan had recommended, had been explicit. No contact except through attorneys. The tour guide was a woman in her 50s wearing a Coast Guard auxiliary jacket, her name tag reading Barbara Peterson. She gathered our small group near the base of the lighthouse, maybe a dozen tourists with cameras and kids. "Portland Head Light has been operational since 1791, Barbara began. "George Washington himself commissioned it. The keeper's house is now a museum, but the light is still active, maintained by—" "Do you still have a lighthouse keeper?" Emma interrupted. Barbara smiled. "Not like in the old days, but we do have a site manager who oversees operations. Actually, she's here today." "Claire." A woman emerged from the keeper's house, maybe 35, athletic build, wearing jeans and a fleece jacket with the Parks Department logo. She had the kind of effortless confidence that came from knowing your job inside and out. "This is Claire Patterson," Barbara said. "She manages the site and coordinates with the Coast Guard on the beacon operations." Claire waved. "Happy to answer questions after the tour." We filed into the lighthouse, climbing the narrow spiral stairs. Emma counted each step out loud, her voice echoing off the stone walls. 53 steps to the watchroom, where the original keeper would have monitored the light. Barbara pointed to a glass case containing a leather-bound logbook, opened to a page dated September 1923. The keepers recorded everything: weather conditions, ships passing, maintenance performed. Every watch, every shift, meticulously logged. I leaned closer to read the faded handwriting. The entries were precise, almost obsessive. 6 p.m., lit lamp. Wind and 15 knots. 8 p.m., checked fuel, all well. 10 p.m., fog rolling in. They took it seriously, Claire said from behind me. A keeper's reputation depended on that log. Any discrepancy, any unexplained gap, and you'd answer to the lighthouse service. "What kind of discrepancies?" I asked. "Double shifts that didn't make sense. Times when 2 keepers claimed to be on duty simultaneously. Usually meant someone was covering for someone else. Or—" She paused. "Well, sometimes it meant something less innocent." Barbara cleared her throat. "Let's head up to the lantern room." But I stayed focused on the logbook. There was something hypnotic about it, the way every moment was accounted for. No gaps, no mysteries, just documented truth. We climbed the final ladder to the lantern room, where the Fresnel lens dominated the circular space. The lens was massive, its prismatic glass segments catching the afternoon light and scattering it in rainbow fragments across the walls. This lens was installed in 1855, Barbara said. It can project light up to 24 nautical miles. The beacon rotates every 4 seconds and… Is it automated now? A tourist asked. Partially, Claire said. The rotation and timing are computerized, but I still do manual checks twice daily. Log everything, just like the old keepers. She pulled out her phone, showed us a digital logging app. Modern version, same principle. Emma tugged my sleeve. Daddy, can we see the logbook again? We descended back to the watchroom. The tour group continued up to see the view from the gallery, but Emma wanted to look at the old entries. Claire followed us down. You really interested in lighthouse keeping? She asked Emma. I like how they wrote everything down, Emma said. So they couldn't forget. Exactly right, Claire said. She unlocked the display case, carefully turned a few pages. See here. This keeper, Thomas Wright, he kept perfect logs for 15 years. Never missed a watch, never… She stopped, frowning at an entry from October 1924. What is it? I asked. She pointed to 2 entries on the same page. That's weird. Wright logged the 6 a.m. watch here, but his assistant, Daniel Adams, he also logged 6 a.m. Same watch, same time, both claiming to be on duty. I leaned closer. The handwriting was different, but both entries were dated October 15, 1924, 6 a.m. Wright's entry: watch commenced, clear skies, all well. Adams' entry, squeezed in below: relieved Wright at watch, fog bank approaching from east. Could be a mistake, Claire said, but she didn't sound convinced. She turned more pages. Huh. Here's another one, November 2nd, both of them logging the midnight watch. Maybe they worked together sometimes, I suggested. Not how it worked. Watches were solo. You were either on duty or you weren't. She kept flipping pages, found 3 more double entries over the next 2 months. I've never noticed this before. What happened to them? Emma asked. Claire pulled out her phone, searched the Lighthouse Historical Database. Let's see. Wright? Thomas? Oh. Her expression shifted. He was dismissed in January 1925. Official reason: dereliction of duty. And the assistant? Adams was promoted to headkeeper. She scrolled further. Wait. Adams's wife filed for divorce in February 1925. That's in the local historical society records. The pieces assembled themselves in my mind with sickening familiarity. The double watches, the assistant, the wife, the logbook that told the truth even when everyone lied. Daddy, are you okay? Emma's voice seemed to come from far away. I was gripping the edge of the display case too hard. Claire noticed, gently closed the logbook. Sorry, I said. Just interesting history. Barbara called from upstairs that the tour was continuing to the fog signal building. Emma ran ahead, but Claire caught my arm. You good? She asked quietly. Yeah, just reminded me of something. She studied my face for a moment. The double shifts. It wasn't a question. My wife works late a lot, I said. The lie came automatically, even though Melissa wasn't my wife anymore except on paper. Her assistant helps out. Claire nodded slowly. The old keepers, they had a saying. The log never lies, but the keepers do. Wright probably thought he was being clever, covering for Adams, creating alibis, but he documented his own betrayal. What do you mean? Every time Wright logged a watch while Adams was actually on duty, he was creating proof. When the Lighthouse Service investigated, they had everything they needed right there in the logbook. Wright had built his own case against himself. The fog signal building was cold, the old machinery looming in the shadows. Barbara explained how the compressed air system worked, how the keeper would activate it manually when fog rolled in. Emma was fascinated, asking questions about the different horn patterns. I barely heard any of it. My phone buzzed. Jordan. How's Maine? I stepped outside, typed back, how did you know about the lighthouse? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Because I know how your mind works. You're looking for patterns, proof, documentation. Who are you? Someone who kept logs too. 6 weeks of them. Every time she said she was working late. Every time his car was in your driveway. Every time the bedroom light went on at 2:47 p.m. My hands started shaking. You watched. I documented, like a good keeper. Someone had to maintain the log. Why didn't you tell me sooner? The response came immediately. Would you have believed me without proof? People don't believe the keeper. They believe the log. I wanted to throw my phone into the ocean. Instead, I called Patricia Brennan. Kyle, she answered. Everything okay? I need to know something. The evidence Jordan sent you. The screenshots, the timeline. Is it enough? More than enough. Whoever compiled this is meticulous. Timestamps, metadata, corroborating details. It's airtight. Can we find out who Jordan is? A pause. Do you want to? Did I? Someone had watched my marriage disintegrate for 6 weeks and documented every moment. Someone who knew me well enough to send me to a lighthouse, knowing what I'd find in the keeper's logs. Not yet, I said. Fair enough. Listen, I need to tell you something. Melissa's attorney reached out. She wants to negotiate custody. My stomach dropped. What does she want? Primary custody of Emma. She's claiming you're unstable. The sudden trip to Maine, taking Emma out of school without notice. I needed to get away. I know. But we need to be strategic here. Come back to Tucson. Document everything. Be the stable parent. Through the fog signal building window, I could see Emma laughing at something Barbara said. I'll be back tomorrow, I said. That night, in our hotel room, Emma fell asleep watching a documentary about lighthouses. I sat by the window watching the Portland headlights beam sweep across the dark water. 4 seconds between each rotation. Precise, unwavering, honest. My phone buzzed again. Jordan had sent a file. One more log entry, for your records. I opened it. The file Jordan sent opened on my phone screen while Emma slept in the hotel room beside me. Portland headlight stood dark against the night sky through our window, its beam sweeping the Atlantic in steady intervals. The document was a PDF, scanned pages from what looked like another logbook, but recent. Digital timestamps in the margins showed dates from 6 weeks ago, right when Jordan claimed they'd started watching. September 15th, 2024, 14:23. Subject observed meeting male individual, later identified via license plate as Derek Paulson, 28, sales associate at Audi dealership on Grant Road, at Starbucks on Oracle. Duration, 47 minutes. Physical contact, hand-holding, kiss at departure. September 18th, 2024, 11:15. Subject and Paulson entered Residence Inn, Speedway location. Emerged 2 hours, 14 minutes later. Subject's vehicle, white Honda CR-V, license XXXXX, remained in parking lot entire duration. September 22nd, 2024, 14:50. Subject posted to main Instagram feed. Photo of homemade lasagna with caption, cooking for my loves. Same day, 15:23, posted to close friend story. Mirror selfie in black lingerie set. Victoria's Secret bag visible in background. Purchase confirmed via credit card statement. See attached. Caption, countdown to Tuesday. The log went on, page after page. Jordan had documented everything with the precision of that 1920s lighthouse keeper I'd read about just hours ago. Times, locations, photographs taken from distance. Credit card receipts showing purchases I'd never seen. Lingerie, hotel rooms charged to a card I didn't know existed. Dinners at restaurants Melissa told me she'd gone to with her sister. My hands weren't shaking anymore. That surprised me. 3 days ago, seeing that first screenshot had felt like being hit by a truck. Now, scrolling through evidence of my wife's methodical deception, I felt cold. Analytical. September 29th, 2024, 13:47. Paulson arrived at residence while subject's husband at work site, verified via his truck's location. See GPS data. Paulson departed 16:22. Neighbor, Mrs. Patricia Gonzalez, 67, retired, lives 2 houses east. Observed arrival and departure. Commented to her husband, recorded conversation, see audio file 029A, that boy is there every Tuesday like clockwork. Every Tuesday. The day I worked the Scottsdale site, the job that ran long because the developer kept changing specs. The overtime that was supposed to fund Emma's college account. I'd been working Tuesdays for 3 months. The affair had lasted 3 months. My phone buzzed. Jordan, of course. You're reading it. Not a question. I typed back, how did you get GPS data from my truck? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. You really want to know that right now? Fair point. I scrolled further. The log included screenshots of text messages between Melissa and Derek. Hundreds of them. The timestamps showed they'd been texting throughout our regular evenings, while I'd been on the couch watching TV while Emma had been doing homework at the kitchen table, while Melissa sat beside me scrolling through her phone with that little smile I thought meant she was looking at something funny. October 8th, 2024, 2034. Text exchange during family dinner. Pizza night, her husband's Instagram story posted 2041. Melissa. He just asked if I wanted another slice. Like I'm supposed to eat pizza when I'm thinking about you? Derek. Tuesday can't come fast enough? Melissa. I bought something new. Red this time. Derek. Melissa. Emma's asking me something, gotta go play mom. I closed my eyes. The lighthouse beams swept past our window. 5 seconds of brightness, then darkness, then brightness again. Steady, predictable, reliable. Everything I'd apparently never been to Melissa. My phone buzzed again. Keep reading. Page 23. I jumped ahead. Page 23 was different from the surveillance logs. It was a scanned document, legal letterhead. A law firm in Tucson I didn't recognize. Patterson and Associates. The document was dated October 1st, 2 weeks before Jordan sent me that first text at the gas station. It was a consultation agreement between Melissa Brennan and attorney Victoria Patterson regarding dissolution of marriage and custody arrangements. October 1st. She'd been planning this before I knew anything was wrong. The next page was worse. Notes from the consultation, Melissa's handwriting I'd recognize anywhere. The same looping script that used to leave me love notes in my lunch bag. Need primary custody. Kyle works long hours, often unavailable. Document any erratic behavior. His family history, father's drinking problem. Check. College fund and joint account, get access before filing. House, my name on mortgage too, bought with my inheritance down payment. That last line was bullshit. Her inheritance had been $5,000 from her grandmother. I'd saved for 3 years to make the down payment, working doubles and weekends. But it was there in her handwriting, the narrative she'd been building. You seeing it now? Jordan's text appeared over the document. She was going to take everything, I typed back. Even before I knew. Not was, is. Her lawyer filed preliminary paperwork yesterday. You're getting served Monday. Monday, 3 days from now. If Jordan hadn't sent me that first screenshot, I would have been blindsided by divorce papers without any time to prepare, to document, to protect myself. Why did you wait 6 weeks? I typed. If you had all this, why not tell me in September? The response took longer this time. Because I needed to be sure, and because you needed documentation that would hold up. Everything in that file is admissible. Everything is verified, time-stamped, cross-referenced. When her lawyer tries to paint you as unstable, tries to claim you're making rash decisions, you'll have proof this was planned. Calculated. Who are you? Someone who knows what it's like to be erased from your own life. The lighthouse beam swept past again. I looked at Emma sleeping in the next bed, her small face peaceful in the darkness. She had no idea that by Monday, her mother would be trying to take her away from me. That the college fund I'd been building would be joint assets. Melissa's lawyer would claim she deserved half of, even though she'd contributed maybe $1,000 total while I'd worked myself into exhaustion. My phone buzzed. Another message from Jordan, this time with an image attached. It was a photograph of Portland Headlight, but not a tourist shot. This was taken from inside the lighthouse, looking out through the lens room. The massive Fresnel lens dominated the frame, and beyond it, the dark Atlantic stretched to the horizon. The keeper's job was simple. Jordan's message read, "Keep the light burning. Warn ships away from the rocks. Save lives by being consistent, reliable, present." What's your point? Your wife's lawyer is going to argue you're the dangerous one, the unstable one, that your erratic behavior, taking Emma out of school, driving to Maine without notice, proves you're unfit. I brought my daughter to see a lighthouse she wanted to visit. I know that. You know that. But how does it look in a custody filing? I stared at the photo of the lighthouse lens. The keeper's job was to be steady, reliable, to keep the light burning no matter what. So what do? You become the lighthouse. You document everything. You stay calm. You don't give them ammunition. While she takes everything I've worked for? No. While you build your case, that log I sent you? That's your foundation. But there's more. More? Derek Paulson isn't just some sales guy having an affair with a married woman. He's been skimming from the dealership, falsifying financing documents. I have copies. I sat up straighter. How does that help me? Because Melissa knows about it. She's been helping him. There are text messages in the log, page 47. She's been using her access to your joint accounts to help him cover shortfalls. Small amounts. 100 here, 200 there. You never noticed because you trusted her. I scrolled to page 47. Jordan was right. Text exchanges between Melissa and Derek about borrowing money from our savings, always with promises to pay it back, always with Melissa saying, "I'd never notice because I didn't check the accounts that carefully." She'd been stealing from us to fund her boyfriend's embezzlement. The dealership is going to notice eventually, Jordan continued. When they do, there's going to be an investigation, and Melissa's financial involvement is going to come out. You're saying I should wait for that? I'm saying you should be ready when it happens. Her lawyer wants to paint you as unstable. Wait until the court sees she's been committing financial fraud. The lighthouse beam swept past our window again. 5 seconds of light. Steady. Reliable. I looked at the log again, at the hundreds of pages of documentation. Jordan had built a case that would destroy Melissa's custody claim, expose her fraud, protect Emma's college fund. But something still didn't sit right. "You did all this for me," I typed. "Someone you've never met. Why?" The response came immediately. "Check your email." Subject line: Portland, 1924. I switched apps. The email was there, sent from an address I didn't recognize. I opened it. It was a photograph of a gravestone. William James Morrison, 1892-1924. Lighthouse keeper. Beloved father. Below it, a smaller stone. Sarah Ann Morrison, 1921-1924. Taken too soon. My blood went cold. The keeper you read about today. Jordan's text appeared. The one who documented his wife's betrayal in the logbook. He had a daughter, 3 years old. When the divorce went through, his wife got custody. Standard practice back then. I didn't want to know the rest, but I kept reading. 6 months later, the wife's boyfriend was driving drunk with the daughter in the car. They went off the road into the harbor. Both drowned. The keeper hung himself in the lighthouse a week after the funeral. I stared at Emma sleeping peacefully, her chest rising and falling in the steady rhythm of childhood dreams. I'm his grandson, Jordan's message continued. My father grew up knowing his father had a sister he never met, knowing his grandfather died because the system failed to protect an innocent child, knowing that documentation, evidence, preparation, it all matters. I'm sorry, I typed, because what else could I say? Don't be sorry, be ready. Monday morning, you're getting served. But you're going to walk into that fight with everything you need to win. And then? And then you keep the light burning. For Emma, the lighthouse beam swept past our window. 5 seconds of brightness cutting through the darkness, warning ships away from the rocks, steady and reliable and true. I saved the log to 3 different cloud accounts, backed it up on a thumb drive, sent copies to my lawyer's emergency email with a message saying we needed to talk first thing Monday morning. Then I turned off my phone and lay down next to my daughter, listening to her breathe, watching the lighthouse do its job. Being steady, reliable, present, keeping the light burning. The ferry back to Boston left at 6:15 a.m. Emma slept against my shoulder while Jordan sat across from us, his laptop bag between his feet like always. The sunrise turned the water pink and orange, pretty enough that it felt wrong somehow, like the ocean didn't know what was happening. My phone buzzed. Melissa, 3rd call this morning. You should answer eventually, Jordan said. Establish a pattern of communication. Shows good faith to the court. What's she going to say that matters? Probably that she's contacted the police about parental kidnapping. My stomach dropped. You said, I said you're fine. You told her you were taking Emma on a trip. You've been sending updates. There's no custody order yet. He pulled out his own phone, scrolled. She called the Portland PD at 11:47 p.m. Wednesday. They told her it's a civil matter. She called your brother at 12:33 a.m. asking if he knew where you were. How do you... I stopped. Stupid question. What did Travis say? That he hadn't heard from you and she should try being a better wife. Jordan almost smiled. Then he blocked her number. That sounded like Travis. Emma stirred, made a small sound, settled again. Her hair smelled like the hotel shampoo, artificial strawberries. I'd braided it before bed, messy but functional. Melissa always did it better. Melissa, who'd been planning to take her away from me. My phone buzzed again. Text this time. Kyle, please just tell me where you are. I'm worried sick. Emma needs her routine. She has dance on Saturday. Dance is at 10 a.m., I said. We'll be back by 9. Jordan nodded, typed something on his phone. Good. Document that you prioritized her activities. This isn't about scoring points. Yes, it is. He looked up, and his eyes were the same gray as the ocean behind him. That's exactly what it's about now. Every decision you make, every word you say, it all goes in someone's ledger, hers or yours. The ferry's engine changed pitch. We were coming into Boston Harbor. The keeper, I said. Samuel, in the logs. He documented everything and he still lost. He documented his pain, his anger. Jordan closed his laptop bag. He wrote about how betrayed he felt, how his wife was a harlot, how the assistant keeper was a snake. 60 pages of feelings. And feelings don't win custody battles, facts do, schedules, stability, who picks up the child from school, who knows the pediatrician's name, who has a safe home environment. He stood as the ferry bumped against the dock. Samuel wrote that his wife was unfit, but he didn't write that he made every breakfast, attended every school event, knew his daughter's friends' names. He assumed the court would see what he saw. Emma woke up as we walked to the parking garage. Are we home? Almost, sweetheart. Couple more hours. Is mommy mad? My chest tightened. Why would you think that? You keep looking at your phone like when mommy's mad. Jordan caught my eye, shook his head slightly. Don't engage. Mommy's fine, I said. She just misses you. Can I call her? When we get home, okay? Let's get some breakfast first. We stopped at a diner off I-95. Emma ordered chocolate chip pancakes. Jordan got black coffee and wheat toast, ate like someone checking off a requirement. I pushed scrambled eggs around my plate and watched my daughter draw on the paper placemat with crayons the waitress brought. She drew our house, the white fence, 3 stick figures in the yard. Who's that? I pointed to the smallest figure. Me, and that's you, and that's mommy. No, Derek. She didn't know yet. Didn't know anything had changed. My phone rang. Not Melissa this time. Travis. Yeah? Where the hell are you, man? Melissa showed up at my place at 7 in the morning. I stepped outside, left Jordan watching Emma. What did she want? To know where you took Emma. I told her to kick rocks. He paused. She's saying you kidnapped her, that you're having some kind of breakdown. I took my daughter to see a lighthouse. That's not kidnapping. I know that, but she's spinning it. Called mom too. Crying about how you just disappeared, how she's worried about Emma's safety. Jesus. Mom wants you to call her. I told her you're fine, but you know how she gets. I did. Mom would worry herself sick, then call every hour until I answered. I'll call her when we get back to Tucson. When's that? Tonight. We're in Boston now. Boston? Travis laughed, sharp and bitter. Man, you really did just bolt. Emma wanted to see a lighthouse. Emma's 6. She wants to see Disney World too. That doesn't mean you fly across the country without telling anyone. He was right. I knew he was right. But sitting in that house, knowing Melissa had been planning this, knowing she'd been using our money to help her boyfriend steal from his job, I needed to think. So think in Tucson. You got a lawyer yet? Monday. Get one today. She's already playing the victim card and you're making it easy. Through the diner window, I could see Emma showing Jordan her drawing. He nodded seriously, pointed to something on the page. I gotta go, I said. Kyle, I'm serious. Get ahead of this. I hung up and went back inside. Emma had drawn more figures now, smaller ones around the edges of the page. Who are they? Jordan asked. The people at the lighthouse. See? That's the lady who gave us the tour. And that's the man who told us about the keeper's daughter. She looked up at me. What was her name again? Grace. Grace. She wrote it carefully at the bottom of the page, letters wobbly but determined. She died, right? Yeah, sweetheart. That's sad. She picked up a blue crayon, started drawing waves. Daddy, can we come back and see the lighthouse again? Maybe. I want to. I liked it there. She drew a boat on the waves. It felt like the light was protecting people, even when bad things happened. Jordan's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. He pulled out his phone, typed quickly. My phone buzzed. Message from him, even though he was 3 feet away. She's perceptive. Guard what you say around her. Everything repeats in court. I looked at my daughter, drawing her boat, her lighthouse, her protected world. 6 years old and already learning that home wasn't safe anymore. That mommy and daddy were splitting into separate corners, and she'd be the rope between them. The waitress brought the check. Jordan reached for it, but I grabbed it first. I got it. Document your expenses, he said quietly. Everything you spend on her. Food, hotel, gas, all of it. It's breakfast. It's evidence that you provide for your child's needs. Keep the receipt. We got back on the road. Emma fell asleep again 20 minutes in, exhausted from 2 days of travel and excitement. In the rearview mirror, I could see her face slack with sleep, peaceful. She didn't know that when we got home, everything would be different. The smoke bombs, I said. In the plan, the revenge part. Jordan looked up from his laptop. What about them? How does that work? Legally, I mean. If I sabotage the lighthouse, it's not a functioning lighthouse anymore. Portland Head Light is automated. The keeper's house is a museum. So what am I sabotaging? Nothing. It's symbolic. He pulled up a file on his screen. But the documentation of Melissa's affair, the embezzlement evidence, her consultation with the divorce attorney before disclosure, that's real. That's what matters. Then why the smoke bombs? Why the ghost signals? Because you need to feel like you did something. He said it matter-of-factly, like discussing the weather. You need to feel like you fought back. Otherwise, you'll spend the next 10 years wondering if you were just a victim. I am a victim. No. You're a father protecting his daughter from an unstable parent who's committing financial crimes. See the difference? I didn't, but I nodded anyway. The smoke bombs happen after the divorce is filed, after the investigation into Derek starts, after you have primary custody. Jordan scrolled through his files. It's the epilogue, not the story. A symbolic gesture to close the loop. And the Coast Guard investigation? Derek will panic when the dealership audit starts. He'll make mistakes. One of those mistakes will be trying to use Melissa's phone to send false distress signals, trying to create chaos and distract from the embezzlement. Jordan looked at me. At least that's what the evidence will suggest. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. You're going to frame him. I'm going to document what happens, what he does, the choices he makes when he's desperate. Jordan closed his laptop. People reveal themselves under pressure, Kyle. I just create the pressure and watch. We landed in Tucson at 11:34 p.m. Saturday. Emma was asleep before we left the jetway, dead weight against my shoulder as I carried her through the terminal. Jordan walked 3 paces ahead, checking his phone every few seconds. Melissa's car isn't at your house, he said. She's at her mother's. How do you... I stopped. Never mind. The house was dark when we pulled up. I'd half expected her to be waiting on the porch, ready for a confrontation. Instead, there was just the porch light on its timer, the same as always, like nothing had changed. I carried Emma to her room, tucked her in still wearing her airport clothes. She'd want her stuffed elephant, the one she'd slept with since she was 2. I found it on her bookshelf and tucked it under her arm. She made a small sound and pulled it close. My phone buzzed. Melissa. I know you're back. We need to talk. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. The house. I didn't respond. Jordan was in my kitchen when I came back downstairs, making coffee even though it was nearly midnight. You should sleep. Monday's going to be long. Can't. He nodded, poured 2 cups. We sat at the kitchen table where I'd eaten 1,000 meals with my family, back when family meant something different. What happens Monday? I asked. You get served, probably at work, maybe here. The process server will hand you papers, you'll sign for them, and then it's real. He sipped his coffee. Patricia will file your response within 48 hours. That's when we submit the documentation. All of it? Everything relevant to custody and assets. The affair, the financial irregularities, her pre-planning. We establish that you're the stable parent, she's the flight risk. And Derek? The dealership audit starts Tuesday. I made an anonymous call to their corporate compliance office last week. They're thorough. It'll take them maybe 3 days to find the discrepancies. Jordan set down his cup. By Friday, he'll be suspended pending investigation. By the following Monday, he'll be desperate. That's when the signals happen. That's when he makes bad choices that happen to involve maritime communication equipment. Yes. I stared at my coffee. This feels wrong. Which part? All of it. Using the lighthouse. Framing Derek, even if he is a thief. Turning my marriage into a tactical operation. Jordan was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood, walked to my bookshelf, pulled down a photo album. The one from Emma's first year. He opened it to a picture of Melissa in the hospital, holding our hours-old daughter, both of them exhausted and perfect. You wanted that to be real, he said. You wanted the marriage, the family, the white fence. You worked for it, believed in it. Yeah. And she took that belief and used it against you. Every day you were at work, trusting her, she was planning how to take everything. He closed the album. So no, this isn't wrong. This is you making sure your daughter doesn't end up like Grace Adams. Collateral damage and someone else's selfishness. He left the album on the table and walked to the door. Where are you going? Home. You need to sleep, and I need to make sure everything's ready for Monday. He paused in the doorway. Kyle? The lightkeeper's job wasn't to stop the storm. It was to warn people it was coming. That's all we're doing. After he left, I sat there looking at the photo album until the coffee went cold. Then I went upstairs and lay down in the guest room because I couldn't sleep in that bed anymore. The process server came to the job site at 2:15 p.m. Monday, right in the middle of a concrete pour. Dave saw him first, sent one of the guys to get me. I knew what it was before I even saw the manila envelope. Kyle Brennan? Yeah. You've been served. He handed me the papers, had me sign a form, and left. The envelope sat heavy in my hands. I didn't open it. Didn't need to. I knew what it said. Melissa wanted the house, primary custody, half of everything I'd earned. That I was unstable, absent, potentially dangerous. Dave walked over, concrete dust on his boots. You good? No, but I will be. I called Patricia from my truck. She'd already received her copy. It's bad, she said. But we expected bad. Her attorney is claiming you abandoned the marital home, kidnapped Emma, exhibited erratic behavior. They're asking for supervised visitation only. My vision went red at the edges. Supervised? They won't get it. Not with what we have. But Kyle, you need to stay calm. No contact with Melissa except through me. No social media posts. No talking to mutual friends about this. Everything you do right now is evidence. When do we file our response? Tomorrow morning. I'm including the documentation Jordan provided, along with financial records showing the unauthorized transfers from your joint account. We're also filing for emergency custody based on her involvement in potential criminal activity. Will that work? It'll get the judge's attention. After that, it depends on how Melissa responds. She responded by showing up at my mother's house Tuesday evening while I was picking up Emma. I saw her car in the driveway and almost kept driving, but Emma had already seen it. Mommy's here. She ran inside before I could stop her. I followed, my jaw tight. Melissa was in the living room with my mother, crying. Emma climbed into her lap immediately, and Melissa held her like she was drowning, and Emma was the life raft. Baby, I missed you so much. Melissa's voice was thick with tears. Mommy missed you so much. I missed you too. I saw a lighthouse, Mommy. It was so tall, and there was a light that went around and around. That sounds wonderful, sweetheart. Melissa looked up at me over Emma's head. Her eyes were red, but there was something hard underneath the tears. Can we talk, please? Through our lawyers. Kyle, please, I just want to talk. 5 minutes. My mother stood up. Emma, honey, why don't you come help Grandma in the kitchen? I'm making cookies. Chocolate chip? Is there any other kind? Emma ran off, and suddenly it was just me and Melissa in my mother's living room, with my mother hovering anxiously in the kitchen doorway. I'll give you 2 a minute, Mom said, and disappeared. Melissa stood up. She looked smaller somehow. Tired. Kyle, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You filed for divorce. Because you took Emma and disappeared. You scared me half to death. I took our daughter to see a lighthouse she wanted to visit. You've been planning to leave me for weeks. She froze. What? October 1st. Your consultation with Victoria Patterson. All your notes about how to get primary custody, how to claim the house, how to access the college fund. I kept my voice level. I know everything, Melissa. The color drained from her face. How did you? Doesn't matter. What matters is you don't get to play the victim here. You don't get to cry to my mother about how worried you were when you've been planning this since before I knew anything was wrong. Kyle, please. And the money. The transfers to Derek's account. That's going to come out too. Now she went white. Actually white. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, you do. And so does the dealership's corporate compliance office. They started their audit today. She sat down hard on the couch. Oh, God. You want to talk? Talk to Patricia. You want to see Emma? We'll work out a schedule through the lawyers. But you and me, we're done talking. I walked to the kitchen. Emma was sitting on the counter, eating cookie dough from a spoon while my mother watched her with worried eyes. Come on, Em. Time to go home. But the cookies aren't done. Grandma will save you some. Say bye to Mommy. Emma hugged Melissa on the way out. Melissa held her too long, her face buried in Emma's hair, and I saw her shoulders shake. Part of me, a small, stupid part, wanted to comfort her, to fix this somehow. Then I remembered the Instagram post. The bedroom. 3 months of lies. I took Emma's hand and left. The dealership suspended Derek on Thursday. Jordan texted me the news with a screenshot of an internal memo he shouldn't have had access to. By Friday, Derek was calling Melissa constantly. I knew because Emma mentioned it. Mommy's phone keeps ringing. She says it's a bad man and she won't answer. Did Mommy seem upset? Yeah, she was crying again. I documented it, wrote down the date, time, Emma's exact words, added it to the file Patricia was building. Saturday was Emma's dance recital. Melissa and I sat on opposite sides of the auditorium, both of us smiling and clapping when Emma did her routine. Afterward, we had to stand together for photos, pretending for our daughter that everything was fine. Smile, Mommy, Emma commanded, and Melissa smiled. And I smiled, and the dance teacher took the picture that would probably be the last photo of the three of us together. That night, Emma asked when Mommy was coming home. She's not, sweetheart. Mommy's going to have her own place and you'll spend time there too. Why? Because sometimes grown-ups can't live together anymore. But we both love you so much, and that's never going to change. Is it because of the bad man? My heart stopped. What bad man? The one who keeps calling Mommy. She said he's a bad man who made mistakes. I held her close and told her everything was going to be okay, and I hoped it wasn't a lie. The smoke bombs were Jordan's idea, but I'm the one who agreed to it. It's symbolic, he said again, 2 weeks later. We were in his car outside a marine supply store in San Diego. Derek's desperate. The dealership's threatening criminal charges. He needs a distraction, something big enough to make the investigation seem less important. So he sets off fake distress signals. So he tries to. But the Coast Guard traces them, finds evidence linking him to the equipment. And suddenly he's not just an embezzler, he's someone who endangered lives for personal gain. You're setting him up. I'm giving him rope. What he does with it is his choice. Jordan handed me a list. These are the supplies he'll purchase. Tomorrow, using a credit card that's linked to Melissa's account. The one she set up for their expenses. How do you know he'll? Because I'm going to suggest it, anonymously, through a forum he uses for financial advice. Jordan's face was expressionless. He's going to think it's his idea. I looked at the list. Smoke grenades, marine radio equipment, a burner phone, everything you'd need to fake an emergency. And if he doesn't take the bait, then we proceed with just the embezzlement and affair evidence. You'll still get primary custody. Melissa will still face consequences. Jordan started the car. But this way, there's no ambiguity. No chance a judge looks at her and sees a woman who made a mistake. They'll see someone who enabled a criminal. She'll hate me. She already does. This just makes sure Emma's safe from her. I thought about Grace Adams. 3 years old, drowned in a harbor because the system gave custody to the wrong parent. Because documentation and evidence weren't enough against a mother's tears. Do it, I said. Derek took the bait. The Coast Guard intercepted the first false distress signal on November 3rd. They traced it to equipment purchased 3 days earlier with a credit card registered to Melissa Brennan. When they investigated, they found text messages between Melissa and Derek discussing the plan, including one where Melissa said, "Anything to make this investigation go away." Except Melissa never sent that text. Jordan did, using software that spoofed her number. Derek was arrested November 5th. Melissa was brought in for questioning November 6th. By November 7th, she'd hired a criminal defense attorney and was claiming Derek had acted alone, using her card without permission. But the texts existed. The purchase history existed. And when the dealership's audit revealed that Melissa had been helping Derek cover his tracks for months, her story fell apart. Patricia called me on November 8th. Melissa's attorney wants to negotiate. Negotiate what? She'll agree to joint custody with you having primary placement. She'll waive any claim to the house or the college fund. In exchange, you don't pursue criminal charges related to the financial fraud. Can I even do that? It's the dealership pressing charges. They're willing to let it go if they recover the money, and if Melissa cooperates with their investigation of Derek. Patricia paused. Kyle, this is a good deal. Better than we'd get in court, even with all our evidence. What about Derek? He's facing federal charges for the maritime violations. The embezzlement is almost secondary at this point. I thought about Jordan's plan. How perfectly it had worked. How Derek had walked right into it, thinking he was being clever. What does Melissa get out of this? She avoids jail, keeps her teaching license probably, gets to maintain a relationship with Emma. And I get primary custody. Yes, Emma lives with you. Melissa gets alternating weekends and 1 evening per week. Standard arrangement. It was everything I'd wanted, everything I'd been fighting for. I need to think about it. Kyle, if you wait 24 hours, that's all I need. I called Jordan. He answered on the first ring. You heard? I heard. Are you taking it? Should I? That depends. Do you want revenge or do you want your daughter? I looked at Emma's drawing on my refrigerator. The lighthouse, the family, the protected boat on the waves. I want Emma safe. Then take the deal. Melissa will be monitored, restricted, and Emma will know you're the stable parent. That's the win. And Derek? Derek made his choices. He's facing the consequences. Consequences you engineered. Consequences he earned. Jordan's voice was flat. He slept with a married woman. He stole from his employer. He endangered lives trying to cover his tracks. I just made sure there was documentation. You fabricated evidence. I created a scenario where his true character was revealed. There's a difference. I wasn't sure there was, but I was tired. So tired of fighting, of documenting, of turning my life into a legal strategy. I'm taking the deal, I said. Good. That's good, Kyle. Jordan paused. One more thing. The lighthouse. What about it? You should go back, with Emma. When this is all settled. Show her that the light's still there, still working. That storm's passed, but the lighthouse remains. Is that symbolic too? No, that's just good parenting. The divorce was finalized December 15th. I got primary custody. Melissa got supervised visitation until the criminal investigation concluded, then standard visitation after. The house was mine. The college fund was mine. Emma's stability was mine to protect. Melissa moved in with her mother. Derek went to federal prison for 18 months. The dealership recovered most of the stolen money. And I learned to be a single father. It wasn't easy. Emma had nightmares for months. She'd wake up crying, asking why mommy didn't live with us anymore, why everything had changed. I'd hold her and tell her the truth in 6-year-old terms. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes. Sometimes families look different than we planned. But love doesn't change. Melissa saw Emma every other weekend. The first few times were hard. Emma would come back confused, asking questions I couldn't answer. But gradually, she adjusted. Kids are resilient that way. I never told Emma about the affair, about Derek, about the embezzlement, about any of it. When she's older, if she asks, I'll tell her the truth. But for now, she just knows that mommy and daddy couldn't live together anymore, and that's okay. Jordan disappeared after the divorce was final. I tried calling him a few times, but the number was disconnected. His email bounced back. It was like he'd never existed, except for the documentation. The logs, the evidence, the meticulous record of everything that had happened. I kept it all on an encrypted drive, locked in my safe, just in case, but I never needed it again. We went back to Portland in June, Emma and me. She was 7 now, taller, more confident. She remembered the lighthouse immediately. It's still here, she said, running ahead on the path. The light was still there, still rotating every 4 seconds, still doing its job, warning ships away from the rocks, keeping people safe. We took the tour again. Claire Patterson was still the site manager. She remembered us. Back for another visit? Emma wanted to see it again. Claire smiled at Emma. What do you like about lighthouses? Emma thought about it seriously. They stay the same. Even when everything else changes, the lighthouse stays the same. Claire's eyes met mine over Emma's head. She understood. We climbed to the lantern room. Emma pressed her face against the glass, looking out at the Atlantic. Daddy? If you were a lighthouse keeper, would you keep good logs? Yeah, sweetheart, I would. Why? Because the truth matters, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. She nodded, satisfied. Then she pointed at a boat in the distance. The light's protecting them, right? Right. Good. She took my hand. That's what lights are supposed to do. I think about Jordan sometimes, about Samuel Adams and his daughter Grace, about keepers and logs and the difference between documentation and truth. Jordan was right about one thing. People reveal themselves under pressure. Melissa revealed that she valued excitement over stability, passion over partnership. Derek revealed that he'd sacrifice anything, integrity, safety, other people's lives, to save himself. And I revealed that I'd do whatever it took to protect my daughter. Even if it meant becoming someone I didn't entirely recognize. Even if it meant letting someone else orchestrate a revenge I couldn't have planned myself. Was it right? I don't know. The courts gave me custody. Emma's thriving. Melissa's rebuilding her life, making better choices. Derek's paying his debt to society. The lighthouse keeper's job isn't to judge the storm. It's just to keep the light burning. So that's what I do. Every morning, I make Emma breakfast. Every evening, I help with homework. Every night, I tuck her in and tell her I love her. I show up for dance recitals and parent-teacher conferences and soccer games. I document her life not for court, but for memory. Photos and videos and stories I'll tell her when she's older. I keep the light burning. And when Emma asks about her mother, I tell her the truth. That mommy loves her, that grown-ups sometimes make mistakes, that families can look different and still be full of love. I don't tell her about the logs, about Jordan, about the careful documentation that saved us both. Some lights are meant to guide ships safely home. Others are meant to expose the rocks beneath the surface. And sometimes, you need both to survive the storm. The last time I heard from Jordan was a postcard. No return address, postmarked from Portland. It arrived on Emma's 8th birthday. The front showed Portland headlight at sunset, the beam cutting through purple clouds. The back had 4 words in neat handwriting. The light still burns. I put it in my safe, next to the documentation, next to the evidence of everything that happened. Emma saw me looking at it once. "What's that?" "A reminder," I said. "Of what?" I looked at my daughter, healthy, happy, safe. Growing up with a father who would always put her first, who would always keep the light burning, no matter how dark the storm. "That some people keep their promises," I said. She smiled and went back to playing. And I went back to being a father. The only job that ever really mattered.